Everyone, it's D7 from G13 Airsoft, and today I want to do a quick review on the German KSK style of blouse. So what I'm going to try to go through is first talk about the features of it, what I liked about it, what are some flaws, and then what are my philosophy of use, and then lastly what I recommend this. Now first off, I was trying to find this blouse and I found it on a German site and I said, hey, cool, it's half of it's in German, barely understand it, probably made in Germany, multicam, which is great because hard to find actual multicam products like this from Germany. So I purchased it, got it home and said, cool, can't wait to check out my German blouse, and then saw in English it said made in Tunisia on it. So good job, Germany, really appreciate that. With that said, it is very good quality and it does use actual multicam material, so that's great. Now, going through some of the features, it has two large pockets on the front and then with quick access zippers on each side with a heavy utilization of Canadian style buttons. They're intended for more cold weather use and use of gloves, but even on this summer blouse you still are seeing it as it's intended to still be used with gloves, which it does work quite well. Underneath each of the armpits is some mesh lining to help cool you off, which is great for a summer style blouse. The mesh lining does look a little more fragile, but I haven't had any issues yet. It also reminds me a lot of what a lot of the Russian military does with their summer blouses, so seems to be a common thread in Europe. As you see here, you get a close-up of the elbows. They just sewed up extra material on it to reinforce it. That's about it. Nothing too impressive. Very comparable to a standard military blouse, but also, not particularly great either. I mean, it's not going to help your elbows too much, which kind of sucks, but is what it is. Continue to spin around, see the back of it. Very bare minimum on the back. Get it again, look at underneath the armpits quickly, and then you're going to zoom in on the pockets. Now the pockets have these really cool zippers on them, but they are fighting against gravity, so if you're worried about them coming undone, it can occasionally happen, but the last inch or so on the top does do a very good job of being very stiff, which helps with avoiding that. Get a close-up, you get to see where the Velcro is supposed to be. I've also super glued more Velcro because I need it. That does bleed into one of the first flaws of this system, as I do wish that the Velcro was much larger for larger patches such as name tapes and whatnot. Instead it's very small, so I super glued it for the time being. It's a short-term solution, but it does work. Now going into the next issue is the length. So as you can see here, it's a bit short on me. I'm about 5'9", and this is the large variant, so I'm a little disappointed it's so short. I think what they could do is sew an extra button on the bottom and then add the length of this to about 3 to 5 inches, and it'll be much better. In addition, I tend to use this with body armor, and then a third issue I have is the Velcro on the cuffs. They seem to work quite well, but over time these tend to wear down on most uniforms, and I suspect this won't be any different. So I prefer Canadian style buttons or elastic to have them on the cuffs instead, but is what it is. Generally speaking, I'm pretty pleased with the product's quality. Now let's go into the philosophy of use of this. So a couple things I was trying to look for was a summer blouse, because I had plenty of cold weather gear, but not warm weather gear. Something that had very large pockets on the front, something that could be utilized with body armor underneath it, and multicam, because generally speaking that kind of narrows down a lot of products. Now a couple things on this is why a summer blouse. Well, because I'm no longer in Alaska and the heat's going to be getting to me more than the cold, so I definitely needed something there. But I also wanted something with very large pockets. As you can see here, I'm using an LBE with body armor underneath the blouse instead of a standard plate carrier. So what that allows me to do is kind of produce a double-edged sword. One, with a lot of modern plate carriers, you have an admin pouch up front, which now I lack. In addition, the LBE allows me to carry a lot of stuff, but if I'm trying to get to some pencil, paper, maybe some land navigation, it's much more difficult to get to since I prioritize having other stuff up front. So I said, well, where can I put it? And I realized, hey, I have all this space on my chest. So then I thought, well, what kind of blouses are there on the market that fit the criteria I have so far? Because there are quite a few modern combat uniforms. The problem with a lot of these military blouses, though, is a lot of the pockets on the front of the chest and sides are very small and minimalistic. They either have bad angles or bad retention, or are not good for storing a lot of stuff in them. Maybe a small map and some paperwork, stuff for garrison use, but outside of that, in a more tactical environment, they're very limited. And I said, well, hang on, what other options are out there? And I started to look around and I found this one that fitted all my criteria. Now, I did reserve another part, which is wearing it with body armor underneath it, so that is affected by the sizing. Again, you can get it in large, but then the length's a little odd. It is fine, especially with the belt kit covering up most of my stomach, but it does tend to go right there on the belt line, which kind of sucks. Now comes the question of, would I recommend it? Well, what exactly are you using this for? If you're using it the way I am, then yes, I would. But if you're going to use this for plate care of some sort, then I would recommend getting a cheaper option, whether it be a modern combat shirt or a more standard military blouse. You're not really going to use the main feature of this product, which is its large pouches up front, if you're going to be wearing a plate carrier. So ultimately, short answer is yes, but understand if you really need it or not. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you around next time.